Hey, what's going on? It's Ryan Stewman, President and CEO of Break Free Academy and your favorite sales blogger over at hardcorecloser.com. And today I want to talk to you about the way that successful salespeople think. You see, the amount of money that you earn is in direct proportion to how you think internally. Many of us from birth are wired to fail. Right? Our parents tell us not to take a chance. Our friends tell us that things won't work out. We see people take off and then burn out, or we see people try their own venture or maybe make their way into sales and end up losing. We see people lose their job and everything else, and we get scared. We get wired to fail. It's this thing I call the force of average. Well, today's video is important because I'm going to teach you how successful salespeople actually think and the mentality behind them. So the first thing is, when you're a salesperson, you have to be a details person. A lot of times a salesperson will say, oh, I don't know, I'm in sales, I don't pay attention to the details. But here's what I know. How you do anything is how you do everything. Here in my office, I make sure that at all times this place is militantly cleaned. Like you can literally lick the floor of this place. I don't recommend doing that, but you can lick the floor of this place and you probably wouldn't get the flu. The reason why I say that is every detail's in place. If you even look back here, everybody's organized. If you look at my desk, nothing is out of place on there. When you walk into the person's office where there's stuff everywhere and they gotta like clean the whole desk off before you can sit down and talk to them, it's annoying because that means that they're not paying attention to the details in your sales transaction as well. So if you're gonna be successful, if you take care of the little things, the big things will handle themselves. And you always gotta break things down to the very tiniest detail. Like I said, having a clean desk, brushing your teeth, keeping clean breath, having your hair combed, making sure you don't got sweaty armpits. All these things matter, right? You gotta pay attention to the details. Even when it comes to working out the sale, oftentimes I would see mortgage people and real estate agents, they say, oh, that seems like a good price, until they dig into the thing and they realize that there's foundation issues, or the underwriter looks at the loan and they realize that the person's self-employed. The better you get at paying attention to the details on the front end, the more success you're gonna have on the back end. Another thing that successful salespeople think about is telling prospects no. So many salespeople are scared to death to tell a prospect no. They're scared they may not get another chance for a sale. They want to be people pleasers. I mean, let's admit it. That's what we do as salespeople. We try to be people pleasers. And the truth is, you can't help everybody. And in the time that you spend trying to help the person that you shouldn't be helping in the first place, that's time that you've burned off that you'll never get back, that you might have been able to help 10 people that you could have actually done something for in the first place, but you're scared to tell somebody no. Oftentimes, I know this, we'll work harder on a deal that we should have told somebody no for than we will on 10 deals that we got easy yeses. First of all, it's because the world wires us backwards. It's the force of average making you think that you have to work for the sale, right? Oftentimes when you make a sale and it's super easy, we'll say things like, oh, that wasn't really a sale, that was a laydown. What's wrong with that? Why don't we deserve easy sales? What makes you think that you have to go out there and work 10 times harder on one person to get a sale and then not take credit for the 10 sales that were easy? I can tell you that's some caveman mentality. That's some average salesperson thinking. That's not some hardcore closer thinking, right? See, as a caveman, we felt like we had to go out there and we had to work for our food. That way we built up an appetite and we were hungry by the time that we killed something, and we earned the thing that we drove back to our home or our cave or wherever the hell that we lived. And that was, we ate and we feasted and we celebrated from it, right? If you walked out and you just stepped on a rabbit and you ate it, you didn't feel that hunger. You didn't feel that intention, that desire, right? But if you chased down a lion and you ate that motherfucker, you felt like you earned your food. Well, it's the same thing with salespeople. We always say things like, we eat what we kill, right? So we feel like we got to go work hard and the thrill of the hunt and everything else. That's stupid. Salespeople that focus on the hunt are distracted from focusing on the close. When you get to where you're not focused on prospecting all the time, and that's not where you get your thrill from, you get your thrill from actually making money, that's a mindset shift. You know, people that become addicted to gambling, people that become addicted to drugs, they're not addicted to the actual high of winning money or the high of getting high. What they become addicted to is the chase of that high, the chase of winning money, and that's a distraction from the force of average. When you shift your focus as a successful salesperson onto getting paid, no matter if it's easy or hard, and you focus on getting paid the easiest way possible, who cares what John 3 cubicles down who don't sell shit and works like a madman 24 hours a day and makes half of what you make, who gives a fuck what he thinks? A successful person focuses on making the most amount of sales in the least amount of time, the easiest way possible. Anything other than that, then you're falling victim to the force of average because you've been wired to fail in life, right? You've been wired that you don't deserve things. Another thing that a successful salesperson mentality is we put no limits on our income. If you're making the same money this year that you made last year, you've put a limit on yourself whether you realize it or not. If you're not making more money every single year of your life, you're limiting your ability and you've fallen into your comfort zone and you're a victim of the force of average. You see, in sales, the force of average is so strong with us, man. It's so strong. We'll have a great month and we'll have a bad month. We'll have a great month and we'll have a bad month. And one of the biggest tricks of the force of average with that is we'll tell ourselves that we make $20,000 a month because we'll have a month where we make $20,000, but then we'll go 2 or 3 months where we make $4,000 or $5,000 before we hit 20 again. And we'll tell ourselves, oh, I make $20,000 a month, when really you make $7,000 a month if you average it out. It's a distraction. You see, a salesman with an unlimited mindset that is not putting a limitation on their income will keep closing, will keep closing, will keep closing. If they close a deal on Friday, they're closing one on Saturday. If they close one on Saturday, they'll close 2 on Sunday. They don't ever close a deal and say, hey, I did good. Take a break for this week. Now they're looking for the next deal. They're looking for the fastest, most easiest way to have a volume of sales possible, right? Because you don't want to put limitations on yourself. You never know when the robots might shut down your industry, when federal regulators might screw up your commission plan. I've seen all these things happen in my lifetime, and there's plenty of people that have told me, man, I wish I wouldn't have taken my foot off the gas, man. I wish in the subprime days that I would have just done as many loans as possible and not got comfortable on $150,000 a year. I look back now and realize I could have made $500,000 a year, and I totally got comfortable at 150. That's, again, it's a trick from the force of average. You see, the force of average is strong against us salespeople. Why? Because we weren't born with a silver spoon in our ass, right? We didn't go to some Ivy League college, right? Mommy and daddy didn't give us $1 million inheritance when we grew up. And if we did, then those of you that work in sales probably blew that shit on crack or something like that. Let's just be honest, right? Most of us came up the hard way. We came from divorced parents. We came from sordid backgrounds. A lot of us, our first entrepreneurial journey was selling candy in school to kids, which may have led to other kind of candy later on in life, right? Like most of us didn't come from like some refined suit and tie wearing church on Sunday service member, you know, outstanding person of the community or political background or any of that stuff. We came from the gutter. We came from the dirt, and we've been wired to fail on this planet, and you have to redo and unwire that mess that's been put inside your head. Did you know that from ages 3 to 7, the world tries to tie you down? Let me give you an example. When you have a baby elephant, and you take the baby elephant and you tie it to a spike. You just drive a spike in the ground, you tie it to the spike, the baby elephant jerks and pulls and everything else, and it cannot pull the spike out of the ground. However, when the baby elephant grows up and it becomes this huge, giant elephant with big ears and a floppy trunk, right, and a huge cock and balls, then you put the elephant to the spike in the ground, which could easily lift it up with just the easiest way possible, but it won't even try to remove that spike. Why? Because it was wired to fail and be stuck in place between the young ages. Well, the same thing happens for the human mind. When we're born to win. The intelligent creator, the divine coder, God, Allah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, designed you to win. And then what happens is your parents say things like, I don't think that's a good idea, even though they have no fucking clue what they're talking about, right? People in the neighborhood go, well, you know, sales is a tough industry to get into. You know, I wouldn't start my own business. I know people who failed at that. And we see people talk us out of the things that make us successful. In school, they tell you, be quiet and don't talk, even though when you get into sales, if you can't fucking talk, you won't make any money. Right? When you go to school, they tell you, go to college and get a job and be happy to earn a few $1,000s a month. Fuck that, right? These are the things that the force of average comes against us and wires us to fail. When I'm here to tell you that you were born to win, and between the ages of 3 to 7, society came against you and tied you to that spike like that baby elephant. But guess what the good news is? You're a big motherfucking elephant with a huge cock and balls that can break the fucking spike and move on and move that thing and do whatever the fuck you want in this life. You just have to remove the limitations. You can tell I'm all fired up and probably red and sweating and shit like that, because this is what I believe. This is what I know. This is the message that nobody else is preaching out there, because everybody else will just tell you, go work 10 times as hard. You just got to hustle, grind, or whatever the fuck all these other gurus are saying. And I'm telling you, it's okay to close easy sales. It's okay to chase the path of least resistance and close as many sales as possible. It's okay to lift that spike out of the ground and go do whatever the fuck you want in life. And when you remove that spike, which is basically the mental limitations that you have on yourself, you live the life that you were born to make. You don't have to be stuck selling MLM. You don't have to be stuck selling cars. You don't have to be stuck selling mortgages. If you fucking love Star Wars material, you can go sell Star Wars material and make millions of dollars a year. Guess who does that? Mattel. That's exactly what the fuck they do. They sell Star Wars material and they make billions of dollars a year doing it, right? If you love computers, you can go fucking sell computers. Guess who makes billions of dollars a year selling computers? Apple, right? Don't let life and the people that fuck with you and society from the ages of 3 to 7 hold you down like that spike in that baby elephant. You're big enough to pull it up. You're big enough to do whatever the fuck you want to in this life. And the second that you actually listen to me, because it's one thing to hear me, but it's another thing to believe me. The second that you actually listen to me and believe that it's possible for you to do whatever you want in this life, you'll have everything that you've ever wanted in this life. If this message resonated with you, make sure you share it with somebody you love. Make sure you share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Also, on top of that, there's all sorts of other badass videos on this channel. Make sure you check them out because they're going to fill you full of motivation and education as well. And also, lastly, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. We'll catch you on the next video.